Who had a stronger economy, Joe Biden or Donald Trump's first term? It's not so. So you could say it's a bipartisan problem, but when Donald Trump was president, blue-collar workers and young people saw their incomes rise faster than the 1%. When Joe Biden was president, the wealthy got wealthier than any other time in American history. We saw the 1% explode their asset class, and young people and workers had a tougher time.
I'm definitely a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
I believe in him wholeheartedly. And
Tell me why.
Because our economy was better. I had money in my pocket. I wasn't spending $5 a gallon for diesel. Yeah. We run a small business, and it's important. Fuel, energy is important.
So the numbers show that the economy is better, but you're not feeling it?
No, I don't believe in their numbers. They lie.
Even though that's what
I've checked myself, and they lie.
How so? Tell me.
How so? Well, like they say the economy's better. It's not. Immigrants being over here is fine as long as they come legally. And we vet them, and we know who is riding beside us in our vehicles. They don't know our laws. They don't speak our language. How can they communicate properly? It's not safe for them, and it's not safe for us.
Trump has ruined everything. Oil was $70 a barrel when Biden left office. It's $112 today. Gas was $3.13 when Biden left. It's $3.94 today. Electricity was 17.5 cents under Biden. It's 19.9 cents today. Heating oil has gone from $2.50 when Biden left office to $4.60 today. Coal has gone up $30.15 per ton. Bread is up under Trump. And beef has gone up from $5.50 to $6.70. Who else misses this guy?
Biden had high gas prices because he inherited a trash economy and a global pandemic. Trump has high gas prices because he started a war.
Trump is a manufacturing disaster. Manufacturing employment has fallen for 8 straight months across the United States. This is a complete reversal from where we were just a year ago. During the previous administration, over 700,000 new manufacturing jobs were created. These jobs didn't magically vanish when Trump took office. Donald Trump killed them with his policies. He canceled major energy projects, pulling workers off job sites. His tariffs are making it harder for some manufacturers to invest and compete in America. And his corruption is making businesses think twice about investing in our nation. Trump promised a manufacturing boom. It's been a total bust.
They're only asking the American people to pay more at the gas.
Okay, wait, really quickly, a few things. Trump doesn't take his salary, but he's made $4 billion on cryptocurrency. Also, I'm honestly kind of impressed at Donald Trump's handling of the economy so far. I'm impressed with what he's done with it. He's taken an economy that was steady-handed when Joe Biden was leaving.
Steady-handed? That's why Joe Biden lost.
Wait, what was the inflation rate when Joe Biden left?
I don't know. I just know that
it was 2.9%. We now have predictions that it's going to go up to 5%. We think that unemployment is going to keep skyrocketing due to this. Gas prices are skyrocketing. That means people have less money to spend on other things. I have a good idea too. Why don't we cut taxes for the richest so that we have less revenue coming in, and then we cut Medicaid for the poorest so that we can justify that, and then we go to war in the Middle East so we increase our debt even further, even though we haven't learned from the fact that we added $8 trillion to our debt from the last Middle Eastern wars, and then we'll continue to pay $1 trillion per year on interest, so it compounds for our generation. That was obviously sarcasm.
Hello you all, welcome back. My name is Kola, and there are a lot of things going on in the US right now, and they're getting really messy. When people argue about politics online, and this time it's not just talk anymore. You can actually feel it in everyday life, and people are tweeting about it. And a lot of people are starting to compare what's happening under Donald Trump's regime now versus how things were during Joe Biden's era. And it all comes to the economy crashing. But let's first watch how people are reacting to this. And then you're going to come back with a full commentary at the end of the video.
The president can't change gas prices, you dummy. Was electing the orange man really worth it? Because the gas prices are sky high and it's all your fault. $300 for groceries? Honestly, it's really not a big deal. You're just being dramatic. My eggs are $7 a dozen and this is all Trump's fault. He said he'd be transparent. I mean, only 3 million files leaked? Release them all! We will never stop talking about this! Oh, Biden put kids in cages? No, honestly, it's really not a big deal. He's putting illegals in air-conditioned facilities? How dare him! No, unemployment is historically low. I'm unemployed, so, I would know. Trump destroyed the economy. People are losing their jobs!
Wait, aren't you unemployed?
Well, how else do you think I'd have all this time to do my research? Curriculum changes? Ugh, relax, it's local control. Critical race theory is being removed in the classroom. Indoctrination! Impeach him! Military deployments are standard, no panic. He sent troops overseas?
Trump is actually doing worse than Biden is regarding our economy, and I have the data to prove it. About a month ago on President's Day, President Trump posted on the official whitehouse.gov website and was celebrating the golden age of America. And the White House posted a screen grab of a Truth Social post where he claimed that prices and inflation are way down and stock and your 401k is way up. Here's the funny thing. For the past year, the president has literally been gaslighting his own most loyal fan base into believing that the stock market is the economy. That's what they want you to believe. An incredibly strong Dow Jones means that our economy is just booming, and that's what he refers to as the golden age of America. When Pam Bondi appeared in front of the Judiciary Committee about a month ago about the Epstein files, she basically just screamed the Dow is at 50,000 because that is their best defense. But here's the problem. Let's live in a bizarro world where the measurement of how our economy is doing is based solely on the stock market, and let's specifically look at the Dow Jones. If you were to look at the performance of the Dow Jones from September 2023 to January 2025, Joe Biden's last month as president, here's what you're going to see. The Dow rose from 34,600 to 43,400. That is about a 25% increase. Now let's look at a similar time frame from January 2025 to today, March 2026. I'll even be kind here and use the numbers from February when the Dow was hitting around 49,800. And not the 47,979 that it currently is. Even if we remove the 3% that the Dow has taken a hit in the past month, he has only improved the Dow Jones by 13.8%. Regarding our economy, the Dow Jones has been the very single thing that he focuses his attention on when he calls this the golden age of America, and when he claims that he is way outperforming Joe Biden, and he is only half as effective. And that's why I love numbers.
Fed Chairman Jerome Powell just dropped a bomb on Donald Trump's economy, and it is a nasty one, if I have to say so myself. A brutal warning. We are losing, and we are no longer gaining jobs in the private sector, where Donald Trump said we would have a jobs renaissance of manufacturing and other types of jobs. None of it is happening. The thing about Jerome Powell is he very calmly, very understatedly says devastating things about this economy, including that private sector job growth is essentially zero during what we were told would be the golden age of the economy under the orange president.
But the thing that I think good number of people on the committee are concerned about is just the very, very low level of job creation. Effectively, there's zero net job creation in the private sector.
Uh-oh.
But actually, that looks like that's about what the economy needs in terms of dealing with very, very low, non-existent really, growth in the labor force, which of course we've never had in our history. So you've got a sort of a zero employment growth equilibrium. Now that's balance, okay, but I would say it does have a feel of downside risk, and it's not kind of a really comfortable balance. So,
one of the things that this administration started regurgitating disgustingly when the jobs numbers started going south was, this isn't a bad thing, folks, because we're losing government jobs, which is what we promised. This is the way that they hid behind the increasingly poor jobs numbers, by saying, we promised through Doge and with Elon Musk and through the things that we were going to do, we were going to get rid of some of these, according to them, wasteful government jobs. So when you see jobs lost, it's actually a good thing because that's taxpayer money that is being saved. Meanwhile, we keep spending more and more money. The deficit keeps going up. It's not like they solved that issue, but they were able to argue for a short period of time to what we promised. We said we would cut the government jobs, and we have. But Jerome Powell now says, no, we're talking about private sector job growth. The private sector is where Trump said we would see growth like we have never been able to do so before, to quote George W. Bush. And we're not seeing it.
Before we watch this clip, it is very important that you know right off the bat that the person speaking is Lloyd Blankfein, the senior chair of Goldman Sachs. Now watch.
I think the answer to solve the problem has to be a more progressive tax system than we have today, and to give more people for free the necessities of life, like childcare, health care, other things that rich people can afford, that poor people have to scrimp to give those things, have the higher minimum, and to pay for it with a progressive system.
Again, that was the senior chair of Goldman Sachs, and even he is acknowledging that wealth inequality is not sustainable, that wealth inequality will be the downfall of our civilization if we don't stop its trajectory. Even he is acknowledging that it is very important that we put policies in place that make sure that every human has access to things like housing and food and healthcare, and stop allowing whether or not you get those basic necessities be determined largely by what amount of wealth you were or weren't born into. And you might be thinking to yourself, why the would the senior chair of Goldman Sachs be out here calling for a more progressive tax system? Why would he be out here talking about the dangers of wealth inequality? Well, that's because he and any other non-stupid rich person understands that when the rich take food out of the poor's mouths, eventually the poor will eat the rich. So the rich get to choose, either invite us to the table or end up on the menu.
Trump is actually doing worse than Biden is regarding our economy, and I have the data to prove it. About a month ago on President's Day, President Trump posted on the official whitehouse.gov website and was celebrating the golden age of America. And the White House posted a screen grab of a Truth Social post where he claimed that prices and inflation are way down and stock and your 401k is way up. Here's the funny thing. For the past year, the president has literally been gaslighting his own most loyal fan base into believing that the stock market is the economy. That's what they want you to believe. An incredibly strong Dow Jones means that our economy is just booming, and that's what he refers to as the golden age of America. When Pam Bondi appeared in front of the Judiciary Committee about a month ago about the Epstein files, she basically just screamed the Dow is at 50,000 because that is their best defense. But here's the problem. Let's live in a bizarro world where the measurement of how our economy is doing is based solely on the stock market, and let's specifically look at the Dow Jones. If you were to look at the performance of the Dow Jones from September 2023 to January 2025, Joe Biden's last month as president, here's what you're going to see. The Dow rose from 34,600 to 43,400. That is about a 25% increase. Now let's look at a similar time frame from January 2025 to today, March 2026. I'll even be kind here and use the numbers from February when the Dow was hitting around 49,800. And not the 47,979 that it currently is. Even if we remove the 3% that the Dow has taken a hit in the past month, he has only improved the Dow Jones by 13.8%. Regarding our economy, the Dow Jones has been the very single thing that he focuses his attention on when he calls this the golden age of America, and when he claims that he is way outperforming Joe Biden, and he is only half as effective. And that's why I love numbers.
The stock market just made a massive move, and it all comes down to one thing: hope. The Dow surged over 1,000 points after Trump claimed the US and Iran had productive conversations, and that was enough to send investors running back in. We're talking about big gains across the board. The S&P 500 jumped, the NASDAQ climbed, and oil prices, they dropped fast. Why? Because if there's even a chance of peace, that could mean the Strait of Hormuz reopens, and that's one of the most important oil routes in the entire world. Translation: less risk, lower energy prices, and markets breathe again. But here's the catch. Iran is denying those talks ever happened, so you've got markets reacting to optimism, while one side is saying that optimism might not even be real. And that's why things got shaky midday. As headlines kept changing, the market started pulling back a bit, because right now, everything is moving on headlines, not certainty. And that's the bigger issue here. Are markets rallying on real progress, or just reacting to words that could change overnight?
The lectern guy says this is either rage bait or evidence that the 19th was a mistake. And he's quoting the patriotic blonde, who says, as much as I bashed Biden, this one physically hurts. The patriotic blonde is showing monthly job creation in the US under Biden. It's consistently positive and pretty large, compared to under Trump, where job creation is smaller and sometimes negative. So what's the lectern guy's problem with the patriotic blonde graph? Here we see a plot of the number of employed people in the United States. And one thing you can notice is that 2010 to 2020, it's steadily increasing, about plus 200,000 jobs per month on average. Then there's this big drop for COVID, and we recover after that. So maybe what the lectern guy means is that a lot of this big job growth, 22 and 23, is just rebounding, returning to normal, 22, 23, returning to normal after COVID. If we plot that is, we plot the projection of plus 200,000 jobs per month in the dashed line and the actual number of jobs in the blue line, we see 2010 to 2020, the projection is very accurate. But then after 2020, when COVID hits, the actual number diverges from the projection. It recovers, it's returning towards the projected under Biden, and then that recovery kind of plateaus under Trump too. Trump's second term. It's like saying that under Biden, there's consistent positive job growth. We're going back to normal. But under Trump, that becomes smaller job growth and sometimes negative. Maybe you think it's because Trump fired a bunch of government employees. But actually, if we look just at the private sector jobs, it's actually a very similar story, where under Biden, we were returning to the projections, getting back to normal. And towards the end of Biden's term, and throughout Trump's second term, that recovery plateaus, and we're diverging further from the projection under Trump's second term. Maybe you think the job losses are because Trump is deporting a lot of illegal immigrants. Well, we could also look at just native-born employment level. That increases on average 122,000, 126,000 per month. And we can see the story's a little bit rougher here, but we can see a similar kind of thing. Under Biden, we are returning to the projection, and then that return plateaus. And under Trump, it's actually falling away. Native-born employment is decreasing a little bit recently. So I find this tweet frustrating. What is the lectern guy's problem with this plot? What's he upset about? I think it's fair to say, okay, look, 22 to 23, that's a lot of rebound jobs. Let's not count that. But even still, Biden consistently positive job gains, and the job gains are larger than under Trump. So the basic point, Trump bad for jobs, I kind of think that holds up if you look at the data. What do you think? Thanks for your time.
So let's start with the obvious, the prices. This includes the gas prices, which have skyrocketed. The grocery prices, don't even get started with that. People are literally posting receipts online like, how is this $100 for just basics? And what makes it worse is the tariffs. Like when you tax imports heavily, companies don't just absorb the cost. They pass it down to regular people, and they get hurt the most. So now everything from electronics to groceries, it's just getting more expensive every day. And there's also the job problem. People are getting laid off in some sectors, and the hiring freezes in other companies, and people are confused because they were promised this strong booming economy that was make America great again, but alas, it's no longer happening, and now they're regretting why they even voted for Trump. Now here's where it gets even interesting. People are looking back at Biden's time, and they're going like, wait, wasn't that during COVID? And because let's be real, during the pandemic, the whole world was struggling, but somehow the US economy didn't feel this unstable to everyday people, like how it is right now. People are dying during COVID, but Biden was able to control the economy. Like, yeah, things weren't perfect back then, but there was some level of predictability, and people were getting better checks, they were getting job support, and the economy was recovering. It felt like there was a system trying to stabilize things. Now, fast forward to today with this ongoing tension involving both countries, that alone is shaking everything. So this includes oil prices going up, gas has skyrocketed, and transport goes up every day. Like, you can't even afford groceries right now. People are opting to just do away with takeaway. It's like a chain reaction. So people aren't just dealing with policy changes anymore. They're dealing with global pressure at the same time. And this is the part that's really blowing online. Some MAGA supporters, not literally all, but a noticeable number are starting to say, this isn't what we voted for, and we actually regret who we voted for. And we have seen even comments like, we thought things would get cheaper, but now they're worse. And everything is now expensive. Meanwhile, there are still some people who are still defending Trump very hard, and they're saying it's a global issue, and it's not a Trump issue. It's not just leadership. So now the country feels divided again, but this time over actual daily survival cost and not just politics. But at the end of the day, this isn't even about picking sides on who did it better or who is doing it better. It's about the reality that regular people are feeling every day. And they're feeling it at the grocery stores, they're feeling it while paying their bills. And when that starts hitting hard, that's when opinions changes so fast. But yeah, I'm curious, if you were living there right now, how would you be feeling? Or who would you think stabilized the economy? Is it the Biden era or Trump? But I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me how you feel about it. And finally, credit goes to the respective owners of the clips and content used in my video. The thoughts and perspective guys made today's work possible. And if you loved today's video and you would want to see more of this, ensure you leave a like and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one.